This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Regina Lee.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I'm Regina, the host, and I'm in the Charlotte area. And my favorite thing to do is talk to local business owners. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Erin Hostetler. She is the owner of the Patio Farmer, which I'm just super curious everything she does, but she's based here in Charlotte. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, thank you, Regina. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. So what do you do? What is the Patio Farmer?
Yeah, so the Patio Farmer is a business that I started almost 9 years ago, and I help people all across the Charlotte area who are interested in growing food at home be successful at learning something new and trying something new. So I offer education and one-on-one services to help support people in their growing journey, whether they're just starting out as a beginner or they have a couple of seasons under their belt, but are just looking for some more insights.
How fun. So tell us, a little bit about yourself. I'm super curious because this is such a niche business. So tell us a little bit about your background and the journey forward to where you are today owning this business.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in South Charlotte. I remember Stonecrest being built and Ballantyne going up and all of that. And my parents still live in South Charlotte. It's great. So obviously I grew up in the suburbs, not working on a farm. I actually, ironically, despised yard work as a child. It was always a chore
Child
or task
labor.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Mom and dad were like, okay, we've got, 5 flats of flowers to plant and some mulch to put out, and you get to weed too. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So I grew up not enjoying the things that I now thoroughly enjoy. And I went to App State. I have my undergrad bachelor's from App State, and then I also have a master's. I lived in London to earn my master's degree. I went to King's College London, and that's what really led me down the food path. My degree is in global ethics and human values, and I wrote about the human right to food for my dissertation and wanted to go into international food policy, but then quickly realized that I needed some more grounding, some more solid understanding of the food system before, wanting to roll up my sleeves and jump into policy work. So I spent several years working on farms of all sizes. I did an apprenticeship on a farm in Pennsylvania, and I managed an urban farm here in Charlotte, in East Charlotte, for a couple of seasons, which is where I started the business, the Patio Farmer, because the farm, it was a nonprofit farm, an educational farm that served a mission within the community. And we had tons of volunteers that would come out to the farm. And for a lot of people, if you've never grown broccoli yourself, or I don't know, fresh herbs or tomatoes, like maybe you don't have a vision of what this looks like. And then you come out and you see an eggplant growing from this like super cool looking plant. And you're like, wow, that's where it comes from. Like people were having these light bulb moments, almost every time we had volunteers out. And then of course we're working alongside of each other and people have questions. And so I'm answering questions for people. And one of my friends opened a garden center in Noda, which has since closed. But when he opened the center, he asked if I would come teach some classes just to help, get people in the door and raise awareness for his business. And I said, sure, happy to help. And I taught 4 classes that summer. This was like early summer 2017. And they all sold out. And my friend was super encouraging. He said, Erin, I think you've got something here. And I think, if you wanted to, you could really build a business around this. And I was a little dismissive at first, but I promised him that I would give it some thought. And I did. I put together like a bare kind of structure of offerings. And I tried it out on a couple of friends, and then it just, steadily grew from there. And here we are.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
very smart. And when you're actually passionate about your business, that's where I think true success really happens. So, tell us your services. How does it work? Now I'm intrigued. What's the first step and walk us through it?
Sure. So I have three main services that I offer to individuals: consultations, installations, and then maintenance. So consultations are the best place to start. They're 45-minute conversations in your space. So I come to you. I also do them virtually, but I think it's best if, we have them in person. We can walk around and talk about things, answer all your questions, and put together a plan. Consultations also include a set of follow-up notes and next steps. Then I have my installations, which usually look two different ways. One, it could be setting up a new space, so building raised beds. That's a service that I provide. I can build raised beds for
Wow.
clients, bring soil, get everything set up for those. And then also with installations is planting for a season. So once you have your space set up and you think it would be helpful to have me come out, I can provide all of our supplies, our soil, plant food, seedlings, seeds, trellising, and then we can plant for a season. And then there's maintenance. So I offer written maintenance plans, which are per season and specific to what you're growing, and kind of have high level maintenance points, everything from feeding to watering, harvesting, things to look out for pests, disease, etc. And then I also do maintenance visits, which are similar to a consultation, but more specific to maintenance. Um, I do out of town visits. So if you're traveling in the summertime and you don't want to go away for 2 weeks and come back to, you know, maybe brown, crispy
Yeah.
tomatoes,
I
which is
water my
always,
neighbors' plants when they're gone because I'm a master gardener and they know I know what I'm doing. So they come home
yeah,
sometimes and things are staked and I've sprayed and done this or that. That's awesome. You can do that.
yeah. Yeah, so if you don't have a master gardener who's a neighbor, that's something that I support my clients with. And then I do have different maintenance packages as well. So, if you know that you're going to need maybe like every other week visits from me throughout the season, we can set that up. And my top tier service is called Premier Practice. And from March through September, there are weekly visits from me included with that, as well as supplies. So it's kind of an all-in-one. You can rest assured I'll be there every week. And yeah, and then I also have a monthly subscription service. It's called Plant Club. Super fun. And there's two different levels that you can join at, with different benefits. And that's really the basis of Plant Club is education and information. If you want to learn more um, about a specific vegetable or herb,
Hmm.
fruit throughout the season, and then there's the second level of Plant Club membership includes visits and services from me. So
Yes,
there's
on your
lots of different
website, I see that it's laid out for you if you have questions. That's super cool. What are some of the funny things you've had, situations where maybe someone thought this was going to be this and it really turned out to be that? They just had no clue, like with growing plants and things. Does
Yeah,
anything come to
I
mind?
think absolutely. I mean, several things come to mind. But the one that I think is most common or the most surprising for people is how much space, well, I guess two parts to this, how much space vegetables need to grow,
Mhm.
and two, how quickly they grow. Planting summer squash, for example, with somebody who's brand new to growing their own food in the summer. Um, I like to use seed for those because they grow so fast. And there's always this component of coaching where you have an entire maybe like 4 foot by 4 foot raised bed, let's say, and you put two seeds in one little hole, and then about 2 feet away, you put two more little seeds, and then you cover them up and you water. And usually my clients are like, wait, that's it? That's it? And I'm like, yes, trust me, that is it, because they grow so fast. And then summer squash plants are massive.
They take a lot of room. That vine just goes and goes.
It does. And then, a month or two later, when I come for a visit, they're like, boy, I sure am glad that we didn't plant more here, because now look at it. Like there's no room. I had no idea that these plants take this much room.
Are tomatoes one of the things you get the most requests from? Because they can be hard.
Everybody wants to grow a tomato. I mean, that's definitely, I would say, the most popular, most desired fruit, at least in the summertime, to grow. So I get a lot of questions about tomatoes. Even though they are delicious and highly desired, they are some of the more tricky, finicky vegetables to grow at home, because they're prone to disease and pest issues. We're not the only ones that love tomatoes,
Yeah.
so
those big green juicy worms that you get on tomato.
Oh my gosh. Plants. Yeah. My nemesis.
Yeah, it's terrifying. That's super cool. So looking at this journey, boy, you have really done so much. Thinking over this, what are you most proud of?
Honestly, there's nothing that makes me smile more than when I'm working with a client and, maybe it's like their second or third season working with me, or sometimes it's just the first season we're working together. And they have this moment where, they make the connection between what they're experiencing at home, trying to learn how to grow their own food, with the experience of how we get our food, kind of at the large scale or even the small community scale. There's something really impactful about sitting down, planting seeds, watching them grow, tending to them. It gives you a deeper respect, I think, for our food, where it comes from. Even if people after a season or two decide maybe growing their own food isn't, the best hobby for them, it inspires them to want to shop at farmers markets or local businesses more, because the appreciation is there. There's, a lot of people will start by growing their own food and then quickly want to take on composting, because they see the impact of food waste and how something that we just throw away can actually be repurposed and transformed into something that's beneficial. So I think that personal change, mindset change, behavioral change, and just awareness that can come from just planting a garden, trying to grow some of your own food. I think it's really beautiful and it's life-changing for a lot of people.
Do you have a minimum space requirement in order to bring someone on as a client?
Not at all. Nope. Okay. I work with all sizes. If you have a balcony, I would love to work with you. If you have a big backyard, small backyard, a deck, 5 acres,
oh wow,
I'm happy. Yeah.
How about restaurants, commercial? Can you do that kind of thing?
I do, yes. So I have 5 commercial clients currently. One of them is a restaurant, culinary space. I tend to their rooftop raised beds. It's really fun. They're in South End. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And then I also work with a lot of apartment communities, a lot in South Charlotte and Union County, actually. So there are apartment communities who want to have community gardens for their residents, and they want the garden to be supported by someone like me who can come out and tend to the spaces every week, and then coordinate with the leasing office and leasing team to share what's ready to harvest, so that residents can enjoy all of the veggies.
That is super cool. What a selling point for the apartment complex. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
you do something that to me just sounds wonderful. It would feed my soul for sure, and I can tell by your face that you love what you do. How do our listeners find you? You can get in touch.
Yeah, so my website is really the best place to start. It's thepatiofarmer.com. That's where you can schedule a consultation. There's a button in the top right corner. You're welcome to reach out via email. That's also a great way to get a hold of me, is thepatiofarmer@gmail.com. And then I'm on social media too, Instagram, Facebook, primarily. Yeah, and it's all The Patio Farmer. So my handles are just The Patio Farmer.
It's a great name. I think you've done a marvelous job from everything you've shared. Well, Erin, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Regina.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpsouthcharlotte.com. That's gnpsouthcharlotte.com, or call 980-351-5719.